Welcome back, this is Jack, let's get started. What we're talking about right now is Spider-Man. Not all of his abilities, but specifically some that people either underestimate or just don't realize he has the ability to do. Because he either doesn't show them in the movies, or it's just something he doesn't do commonly because of morals and ethics. One of the most obvious ones that need to be talked about is his super strength. Now, people underestimate how strong he is because you see him standing next to people like Thor and Iron Man and all that stuff. You do understand that he is stronger than Captain America, but you don't really understand how strong he is. And the first time it was really brought up how powerful he really is when Doc Ock took over his body. Doc Ock was dying of cancer, so he transferred his consciousness into Peter Parker's body, knowing who he was to begin with, so he could prove to be a better Spider-Man. And as you see, he did release a bunch of little bots to help him survey the city. But one of the first things he noticed was how much Peter Parker has held back on punching people. Because he almost killed a guy the first time he punched him, not realizing just how strong Spider-Man really is. And that's something we really underestimate, once again, because we watch him stand next to people like Thor and the Hulk. His punches are strong enough to be felt by the Hulk, and the Hulk doesn't like them. Anyway, and there's also been times where he's had to fight the Juggernaut before, and has survived the fight for an ungodly amount of time while X-Men try to show up. Another example is where he's just slapping Kingpin around. In this specific instance, because it plays into the next scene, I'm going to explain a little bit. Kingpin just tried to kill Aunt May. This is after Peter Parker had unmasked himself during the Civil War, but before it got retconned. So Kingpin, in his infinite wisdom, decided to try and assassinate Aunt May to try and break Peter Parker. Peter Parker shows up in his tower, takes off his Spider-Man outfit, and proceeds to beat the crap out of Kingpin in front of all of his men. And another ability that he can easily use to, if he really felt like it, to go Punisher, is this. What people forget is how dangerous that the web shooter is. As he explains in this thing, and I'm going to take my time explaining so you get a chance to read what he's saying, he can spray it down someone's throats, into their lungs, and into their stomach. It would instantly harden, and for an hour, there is nothing you can do to remove it. And the only person who has a chance of saving him is Spider-Man himself, if he really wanted to. And as he says in here, if Aunt May is ever threatened by Kingpin again, he will show up and do just that. That's just an example of what Peter Parker on a bad day could do. And we underestimate it. We forget how dangerous just those web shooters are. I think you've had enough time to read them. If not, please pause the video and go back. This is another one that was figured out by one of his clones. It's called the Mark of Cain. Yes, Spider-Man was cloned, and not all of them were good. Called the Mark of Cain. His ability to hold himself to a wall and climb. Instead of using that on a wall, imagine him doing that to someone's face or an arm. It was a form of branding that he would use. This is actually Peter Parker using it against Norman Osborn. And that was just his fingertips touching his face and then letting him pull back. That's all he did. With no extra strength needed, nothing. Just ripping the skin off on contact. Once again, what Peter Parker can do on a bad day. And this is not including all of his intelligence and the things he can build and the things he could do if he had the resources and the backing. Because there are times where Peter Parker is not broke. He has his own business. And he is successful. And there's also been times when he's been enhanced by a spider god, so to speak. There's many different versions and many different ways to expand his powers and have retracted his powers. But these are abilities that he can just constantly do that people just don't talk about. They don't show in the movies. I don't think they're going to. But we might be able to see something along those lines when Venom and Carnage come out, because it is right now reported that Tom Holland will play some sort of role, and to explain why they describe themselves as more spider-like in appearance. Why? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm just very interested in seeing Carnage brought to the big screen. Now with that said, thanks for watching. This has been Jack with the Geek's Perspective. I do hope you enjoy the show, and I hope you like, subscribe, and share. And please take care of yourself during this coronavirus outbreak. I would like you all to stay safe and not get sick, or spread it to somebody you do care about. Thank you.